Are you looking for a weeknight meal that's delicious, quick to come together, and not too bad on the bites or points? I have the perfect solution for you here. This is my everything chicken pasta with cream cheese sauce. It is so delicious and filling, I can't wait to dig in. So if you'd like to see how this is done, stick around because it's coming up next. Hello and welcome to my kitchen. My name is Roy. I am a home cook and amateur baker, and I am here on this channel sharing recipes that have helped me to lose over 125 pounds, whether those recipes are mine or someone else's. Now today is mine, but I've adapted it from someone else's. I saw a while ago, I believe it was my friend Bree over at Balancing Life with Bree. She was making Emily Bites everything chicken bites with cream cheese yogurt dip. Now it sounded delicious, but I did not want for a meal little bites that I had to dip into. If that's an appetizer, great. But for dinner, that's not my thing. So I decided to adapt it to make it my thing. So I've adapted it to a dinner rather than an appetizer type meal. So I will leave a link to Emily Bites' original recipe down in the description box, as well as a link to my version, how I've adapted it. Now let's quickly go over the ingredients. I have here some cooking spray. Originally in the recipe, I did use 2 teaspoons of olive oil, which is still an option, but it actually gave me an extra bite that I didn't want, so I've removed that and replaced it with cooking spray. If you prefer to use oil, you can. You'll obviously just have to adjust for the bites in your recipe builder. I also have some Fiber Gourmet light penne. Fiber Gourmet, as many of you may know, they're not sponsoring me, but I do enjoy their pasta. It tastes just like regular pasta, but with only 2 bites per serving compared to regular pasta, which I will use on occasion. But if I want to make sure that I'm using my bites or points wisely throughout the day, I will use this. So this is the pasta. I have my water. It was boiling. I turned that down for now. I also have here 1 pound of chicken breast. It was actually 1 giant chicken breast, just cut up into bite-sized pieces. I have 1 can, about 15-ounce can of corn, whole kernel corn, not cream corn. That will cost you bites or points. And some green beans, cut green beans. Now you can use any vegetables you want. You don't have to use the ones I'm using. You could use frozen vegetables if you'd like. You could use the mixed vegetable from the freezer. It's your call. It would just be about 2 cans worth, 15 ounces each, probably about 3-4 cups. You don't have to be that precise with the veggies because typically there's 0 bites, so might as well use them. I have here 1/2 of a small onion. That's what it says in the recipe. I actually used 1/4 of a large one, but it's about the same thing, about 1/2 a small onion. And then I have 1/2 of a red pepper, and both of those have been chopped, not too finely, just a little medium-sized chop, just so that you get some flavor in there, some texture, but they're not too small of a piece. So if you want it smaller, you can make it smaller, obviously. I have here 1 egg that's lightly beaten because we're going to put that on our chicken in a little bit. I have 2 tablespoons of chicken broth. You can use water. You can use a little more chicken broth. I just needed a little something to thin out the sauce. So I just opted for 2 tablespoons of chicken broth. It gives a little bit of flavor where water wouldn't. You could even use almond milk if you wanted. Now here I have, in these 2 bowls, 3 tablespoons of everything but the bagel seasoning. That's the seasoning mix that you can find pretty much everywhere these days. That goes on top of an everything bagel. It's got poppy seeds, sesame seeds, garlic, salt, all sorts of things. So I have 3 tablespoons, but it's divided. I have 2 tablespoons here and 1 tablespoon here because we're going to use them in different parts of the recipe. I also have here 1/3 cup of non-fat Greek yogurt, and I have 1/3 cup of my light homemade cream cheese. I make it from the non-fat Greek yogurt, and if you have not seen my video for that, I will card that up here. Everyone who makes it loves it. It's a game changer because you don't have to worry about the bites. You don't have to worry about getting that rubbery, fat-free cream cheese from the supermarket, and it's delicious. But if you want to make your own, it's very, very easy. So I'll card that, and I'll also leave a link to that video down in the description box. I have here 1 tablespoon of flour. I have 1 teaspoon of garlic powder. I have a teaspoon of dried chives. Now, in the recipe, it does say 2 teaspoons of fresh, but if you've watched this channel before, you know that I tell you if it's fresh and you have dried, you're going to use half as much. So that's 1 teaspoon of dried chives and then 1 teaspoon of onion powder. So let me get a couple of things out of my way and we will get started. Okay, so I have my pasta in the water. That's going to take about 15 minutes. They changed the formula on Fiber Gourmet pasta. Now it takes a little bit longer. It used to be like 8 to 10, but still delicious. So that's going. I have the peppers and onions here next to the pan because we will be using those shortly. But first things first, we're going to take our chicken and we're going to sprinkle over the flour. Now this is just 1 tablespoon of flour. And we just want to stir this around so that we get that chicken coated. It might look at first like it's not really going to coat, and it's not going to coat very thickly. You don't need a thick coating of the flour here. You just want a little bit coating all of the chicken so that way it will get some nice color on it. All right, now that that's mixed through, you can see you don't really see much flour on there. You can see a little powdery whiteness on there. Now we're going to add in our egg, and this is going to mix with the flour to make a nice little coating for our chicken without being too heavily coated. And by putting the flour on first and then mixing the egg through, it allows the flour to distribute more evenly than if you mixed it right into the egg. All right, so that's pretty well coated. Now it will be kind of a wet looking mixture, you can see here, but do not worry, it's fine, that's what's expected. Now we're going to sprinkle on the 2 tablespoons of our everything but the bagel seasoning mix, and we're going to stir that through and get the chicken well coated with that as well. This allows that seasoning mix to stick to our chicken and also get distributed well throughout by mixing it in here once it's all wet. All right, so that's pretty well combined. I'm going to put this aside and we will move on to our sauce. Okay, so for the sauce, we have our non-fat Greek yogurt, our cream cheese, our chicken broth, and our seasonings. So we're just going to combine those together in a bowl. The yogurt, cream cheese, chicken broth, everything but the bagel seasoning, onion powder, garlic powder, and chives. And then we're just going to whisk this all together. I'm just using a little fork. You could get out a little whisk if you wanted, but a fork does just fine. So I'm just going to whisk this all together so that it's a smooth mixture. Okay, so that's all blended. I'm going to clean a few things up, then we're moving on to the frying pan. Okay, so I have my frying pan over medium-high heat. I'm just going to spray it with cooking spray. And then we're going to add in our onions and peppers. And we're going to saute these for just about 3 minutes, just to let them soften up a little bit. And we're not going to add any salt to them because there is salt in the everything but the bagel seasoning, so I don't want to overwhelm with salt. We can add some at the table if we need to. All right, so let me give this about 3 minutes. My pasta is just about done. I will be back in a moment. Okay, my pasta still needs a few more minutes, but the onions and peppers are getting a little color on them, which is what I want. I'm going to push them out to the edge of the pan. And actually, just to be on the safe side, I will spray a little bit more cooking spray in there because I am adding in the chicken. So you want to get this in, and then you're just going to separate it as best you can. Once it cooks a little bit more, you'll be able to separate it even further. But just try to get an even layer. So we're gonna let this sit here untouched for about 2 to 3 minutes so it can get some color on that side, and then I'll be back. All right, it's been about 2 or 3 minutes. What I'm going to do is start to flip them, and they will still be in chunks because some of the coating mixture will have sealed them together, but that will help you to flip them a little more easily so you don't have to go one by one. Get the other side down. What we're going to do once these are flipped is let them sit for another 2 to 3 minutes so that side can color, and then we will move on. All right, so it's been about another 2 minutes or so. Just going to now separate the chicken, if any of them are stuck together, and stir the peppers and onions through. You could use jalapenos as well if you like it a little spicy. You could use different kinds of vegetables. You could use green peppers, add some garlic besides the garlic powder that's in the sauce. It's totally up to you. And now we're just going to let it sit for about 2 minutes or so. Now we'll stir it because it's already gotten the color. And if you see any pieces that have any pale spots, you can just flip them around so that they get a little more color. All right, so now what we're going to do is push the chicken and vegetables off to the sides now. And we're going to add in our corn and our green beans so that they can heat through. I mean, they're canned, so really all you need to do is heat them through. But you want to get them fairly evenly placed in there, stir them occasionally. This is going to be another 2 to 3 minutes, and then we will move on and finish this up. Okay, our veggies are pretty well warmed through now. I'm going to turn the heat down to medium-low because we're going to add in the sauce, and you don't want the dairy products to hit too high of a heat or they may curdle a little bit, which is fine. It's not like it's rotten, it just doesn't look very appealing. So we're just going to add this sauce mixture in and stir this through. Now we're going to let this heat up for about 2 to 3 minutes. A lot of 2 to 3 minute intervals here. And we're just going to toss this through. Let this heat up. We are pretty much done. We're just going to taste for seasoning, see if we need to add any salt and pepper, and then we're going to add in our pasta. So let me check for seasoning, and we'll move on from there. Yeah, it did need a little salt and pepper. I already added the salt, now the pepper, and this is fairly well heated through now. So what we're going to do is add in our pasta, and dinner is done. We're going to toss this through, try to get that coating on all of our pasta. Now this was an 8-ounce package of pasta. If you're using a different pasta, just make sure you're only using 8 ounces because this serves 4. And a serving is 2 ounces. But that's all there is to it. A quick and easy and delicious weeknight meal. All right, so let me clean up a few things and we will go over those nutrition facts. Okay, so there you have it, my everything chicken pasta with cream cheese sauce, adapted from Emily Bites. Now I'm going to cover this because we're not going to be eating right away, so I want to make sure that it doesn't start to dry out, although if it does, You could add a little more chicken broth just to loosen things up. Now, aside from pasta, you could mix this with rice. You could also steam some broccoli, mix it with that. But the way I did the nutrition facts is with the Fiber Gourmet pasta that I am using. For one serving of this, it is only 4 bites, or 4 of the old Blue Points. I'm on the Healthi Better Balance plan, which is equivalent to the old WW Blue plan. So those are the bites and points that I use, and you can adjust from there. But this, as I said, serves 4 bites or Blue Points per serving. And if you are following calories, the calories are 403. If you're following macros, the fat is 6.1 grams. The carbs are 59.5 grams. The fiber is 29.2 grams. And the protein is 41.4 grams, all mixed together in one pot. So I hope that you enjoyed this video and this recipe. If you did, I'd appreciate a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet and you are looking for recipes that can help you on a weight loss journey. Share any of my videos if you think there's someone out there who would appreciate the content, and hit the notification bell for the next time I upload any sort of video. Also, comment down below, does this sound like your type of dish? And the recipe for this, as I said, will be on my blog. I will link directly to this recipe down in the description box, as well as to the blog itself if you want to search for any of the other ones. Just look for the little magnifying glass at the top of the recipes and just type in whatever recipe of mine you're looking for, or just type something in and see if I have a recipe for it. I may, who knows. But also down there you will find the links to my Amazon storefront. If anything I've used looks interesting to you, it may be there. My Fetch rewards, my Built Bar rewards, and my social media. Here's my Instagram handle if you'd like to follow me over there. And there are 2 Facebook groups that I'm part of. One is mine, Recipes with Roy, and the other one is Finding Our Way, W-E-I-G-H. And that one I co-admin with Jennifer Lynn from the Jennifer Lynn channel, as well as Bree Coleman from Balancing a Life with Bree. So join us over there. There's lots of great tips, tricks, recipes, support, and people. So Paul has about another half hour left of work, so I'm going to keep this warm until then, and I am so eager to eat it, and I hope you are too. So until next time, bye.